Okay, let's start. Let's start the webinar. And it's going to be about coming holidays. And okay, I see you need, yes, you see you need to have an account on YouTube to sign in so you can ask me questions and hear and see other questions in the chat. So I really recommend you to sign into your account, YouTube account, so you can ask me something if you would like to. Other than that, you're good. Okay, so what I've noticed this past few weeks, people were asking me questions in terms of like, well, there are holidays coming and my dog is not really good with the people, with the guests, what I should do. Or this is my very first Thanksgiving and my dog is kind of, not showing really best behaviors overall, or the opposite. Whenever we had guests or family visiting, the dog was just acting a little bit out of control. Could be different things, could be barking, could be jumping, could be nipping because of excitement, right? Not necessarily the dog could be aggressive or have to be aggressive. Or sometimes it's humping. My point is that people like, okay, what can I do? What should I do to have really good holiday? What is the best way to approach that? Let me probably first introduce, just in case if someone going to be new watching this. My name is Marina. I am owner and a dog trainer of Greta's Dog Training. And I have a pretty good experience around over 8+ years in dog training, hundreds of cases. And my specialty is finding and creating custom solutions for people, right? That will be adapted to their lifestyle and to their needs and adjusted to what kind of dog they already have right now, what kind of problems they're dealing right now. So based on that, I have lots of different ideas, experiences, successful cases in a variety of behavioral issues and obedience overall. With my personal dog, I take part in dog sports, love it, specifically obedience and rally obedience. And originally I'm from Eastern Europe. So I can definitely share with some European experience and approach we have and use over there. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna have a presentation so you can guys can see a little bit of picture of what I'm talking about. When give me thumbs up or anything feedback that you see the presentation, because when I'm going to be talking, I don't, and sliding the presentation, I will not see the chat. So I'm going to be switching between two windows just to see if anybody has questions or comments or anything. So if you don't get, great, beautiful, you can see. So yeah, so if you don't get an answer right away, just know that I probably didn't see it yet. Okay, beautiful. So obviously, yeah, this short webinar is going to be for those who just want to find and to have a good plan in their mind of best way to approach this coming holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I would say that it's these specific approaches are more suitable for people that are gonna host the party. However, you pretty much can use lots of ideas if you are traveling somewhere with your dog, right? That you are going to be a guest with your dog at someone's house. You definitely can, pull and pick a few ideas from here and there and adapt into your specific situation. And yeah, so let's move on. So I'm trying to make it simple, ready to go approach. Obviously, could be 25 different steps. It could be 25 different ways how to approach specific situation. And let me tell you, probably all of them are going to be pretty correct, or most of them going to be pretty correct. What I'm going to try to cover myself, give you really ready to go plan that you can already use. And two scenarios. One, you are open and want to use this opportunity to do some successful training here and there. Option two, you just want to have a great night. Like you don't want to deal with any kind of training. Maybe you're open for some management, but overall you're like, no, I want just to have a good time. But at the same time, I just want to make sure that my dog is not going to be practicing undesirable behaviors or just, creating problems here and there. Okay. So what you will need to be successful during this coming holidays. And pretty two things. You need a separation, which is baby gates are the best. And in these pictures, I purposely pulled out this one just to show you that if you never tried that, I recommend to use a baby gate to pick the space where it's kind of like a hall-ish, right? Like when it's kind of like away from the main room, right? Which I assume there will be a living room where it's going to be the main party. But at the same time, you need to think about it. If your first door is takes to the restroom, you need to put the baby gate behind the restroom, right? People should not pass the dog to go to use a restroom. Okay, so there will be a baby gate for cases. We're probably going to cover cases later. Or it will be just a room with a door. And what also you need to buy is anything like a long-term chewing treats. So I gave you some ideas what it could be. It could be frozen Kong, right? I personally don't use peanut butter. I don't recommend my clients to use that. I love to use and highly recommend canned wet dog food. It's pretty much regular food, but most of dogs value that a lot and loves it, so they're willing to go till the end. And what you need to do, I recommend have several of them, fill them up fully, like no space at all inside, not just a little bit, but fully fill it up with the canned wet dog food and leave it in the freezer until the holidays. And that would be great. Distracting and calming chewing treat. And other things that I like is bullet sticks. If you see, I mentioned secure tools. If you look at the golden retriever, right, there's like a red thing that it holds the bullet stick. It's not for the dog's convenience. It's for your peace of mind. Some dogs are not. If you never try bullet sticks, right? Usually lots of dogs value that a lot. It's a pretty high value treat, but it's pretty hard. So some dogs, when they reach the end of the bullet stick, they get a little bit impatient and they might just try to swallow that right away, and it just might be not the best things you want could happen during this holiday. They can choke out or something. So that's why I recommend to use secure tool, right? When you secure a ballistic in that tool, and once the dog just reached the end of that little piece, it just stays in the tool and the dog just cannot eat that. Same you do with the yak cheese. Yak cheese is not a great long-term chewing treat. Pig ears is fine. They will not last as long as yak cheese and ballistic, but a pretty good tool. So this is my top. This is my favorite, and let me explain why we would use those things. So, right, when we want to separate the dog, if we will need to separate the dog, right, use a baby gate or just put the dog in a different room. It depends on what kind of exposure you're looking for. If your dog just gets a little bit excited around people, right, not like crazy, not something that you'll be really worried about, or your dog is pretty good when people are a little bit away, right, baby gate is fine. But if your dog still gets very stimulated and nervous and scared, even if behind baby gate, then I would recommend to use just a room. Just put the dog in the room, right? You can switch between the room and baby gate. I'll say more about that later. And why just not separating the dog? But if we're gonna use this chewing treats with the separation, right? Why we need these tools? Because if you're just gonna put your dog behind the gate or in the room, your dog, if gets super frustrated, might just keep barking and annoying you, or just build up some anxiety. But if you're going to give something distracting, right, as any of this tool, they could be actually very quiet. Or even if they were a little bit anxious and they have this option to calm down themselves on the side in the room or near them, like any of this, Kong, a ballistic, or a yak cheese, this is very likely going to distract them from possible barking, or if they're anxious, very likely going to calm down them, because anything when the process when they chew or lick, it's very soothing process, so it should help them to cope better. So highly recommend ones. Let's move on. Nope, that's not what we need. Okay, let's start before the Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, Thanksgiving Day, you actually, if you're super proactive, or if you have extremely hype dog, very high energy dog, you can start the day before Thanksgiving. Before the day of Thanksgiving, you just need to really well exercise your dog, which is here I'm demonstrating what you need to do on Thanksgiving Day. Early in the morning or later the day, depends when your party starts, depends what kind of preparation you need. If there's a two of you or more that live in the same household, right, you can split the responsibilities. One takes the dog on a really long long walk, or anyways, take the dogs outside, and another person can just start preparation. But why this is very important to do before the party? The dog that has too much of energy, this is the thing, just a regular 20 minutes walk is not going to help you much. But if you're going to take your dog on a really nice hike, or if your dog is dog friendly and going to a dog park for you is a normal thing, like it's safe, and your dog likes that, you can take your dog to a dog park. Or if your dog is not friendly, let's say hike is not an option for you, and your dog is not dog friendly, or it's a risky to have your dog off leash, I recommend option 3, that when you just take a long leash attached to your dog, you need any kind of like park some space, grab some toys, any talk toys, ball or anything, or even just like a combination, the walk on the long leash, a little run just to play a rough, or like play a wrestle a little bit, or tug or anything, is just gonna give your dog an opportunity to burn so much energy. And that's very important work to do. The dog that has energy is going to be dealing really bad with the stressful situations, problem solving, and later the day. It's going to be harder for them to not bark, to stop bark, to if they are anxious, calm down. That's just going to be, the rest of the work is going to be very difficult to do. So that's important part of to help your dog succeed. Any questions at this point in terms of like what exercises would be good, or exercises you maybe you want ask, or any questions about this part? I'm gonna give a few seconds to think. Please, if you have questions, you're supposed to have a group chat available to you. If you're not, you need to sign in into a YouTube account to be able to type questions. Okay, beautiful. We have a question. What do you think would be good to do before guests come over to stimulate brain or drain energy? Well, first of all, yeah, like I mentioned, take your dog on a very long walk. And during the walk, if like the best I mentioned would be lots of running. We need to physically really exhaust your dog. Other options is just the small things. Just allow your dog to sniff everywhere, anything they know they want. Would be the best would be a combination of those two, meaning like some physical activity, some run, play with you, and then let them explore and sniff. You can toss the treats in the grass and just let them search. This is very energy draining. If it's a dog park, I recommend use a dog park just for 15 minutes. So just let your dog run free before they get in any kind of trouble, and then pull them out and again do the same things, toss the treats around, let them sniff, or go or have a good nice walk with lots of sniff and longer leash. You can come back in the park again for 10 more minutes, but whatever combination, physical and mental, that's ideal. But I put just like something simple for you to do. Okay, so what if you have someone staying over? That's a very good question. If I'm going to forget to answer this, I'm going to answer this later, okay? Once we're going to be talking about guests and everything. But if answer this really quickly, ideally your dog should be good by the end of the party to get used to this person if you were had a chance to introduce. We'll talk about that later. But if not, if that's not your case, please bring up this question again, maybe with more details once you're going to know more information, so I can answer specifically, Portia. Okay? Let's move on. So yeah, let's go to the next step, right? Is guests coming, the best part. Okay, so this is the thing. If your dog barks and charging guests, right? You know this from experience. There are different ways the dog can charge, right? It could be just a few seconds, little bark, and then your dog sniffs and then seems acting friendly. You're good. I wouldn't be worried about that part. If your dog is the one that is not adjusting to their new people quick enough, then you need to do. From here, I'm gonna give you two scenarios, two options. What you can do from this. To option one, when you are willing to do some training here, right? If this is the thing, when we talk about training, you need to be ready to take some time. Training means you be ready to be engaged into situation, into your dog. You're not going to be engaged into your guest and have a regular conversation unless you have skills for that multitasking, you're welcome. But training requires some engagement with your dog into the situation, right? There's another option, with maybe you heard we trainers use management. This is where you create situation when you don't have to be engaged with the dog, but the environment built that way that your dog just can't do undesirable behavior, just can't practice undesirable behavior. Okay, we're gonna talk about that later, but let's do about the training part. So if you're willing to do some training, first of all, you need to meet your guests, let your guests know that you're going to meet them outside, not on the porch, outside a little bit. If you live in the house, further away from the house. If it's apartment complex, again, just a little bit further away, a little bit more of a little less common environment. Yeah, just to 10 feet away, good enough. 20 feet away, good enough. Okay. So when your friends, so pretty much when they're there, they should text you, I'm here, whatever. Take your dog on the leash, have some treats on you. You might use them, you might not use them, depends. Meet your guest outside. Your guest just should act like naturally, but just not acknowledging the dog. It should not be like, oh, hello, buddy. And all attention goes on the dog. No, all attention goes to each other. And as soon as your friend or you join your friend, just go on the walk right away, right? I understand that from here, it could be lots of situation can develop in so many different scenarios. Oh, the dog can charge right away. The dog might just sniff and give up. The dog might show no interest whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to try to give you the most common scenario. If you have a little more specific question about that, you can ask me. Okay. So usually the dog, if you just acting naturally and just join each other, you're not stopping and talking. Okay, you just like join together and you start walking. Usually dogs lose interest toward the person pretty quick. Yeah, they might show interest, like trying to approach and sniff, maybe acting a little bit suspicious, maybe even do a little woof. But if you just kind of like ignore that and just keep going, they give up usually, and people quick. Why? Because the walk, the smells, the grass and everything pulls away their attention from the person. Okay. Just have the leash. If you worry that your dog might jump or kind of like, not in a good way, right? Your guest, just have the leash short enough. The dog is just not going to be able to do that. Usually it's the first few seconds that you just need to avoid, like prevent that from happening. Or your friend is just going to be a little bit, not right next to you, but let's say just walking 7-8 feet away from you, but just with you, and just keep walking. If your dog is just trying to stop and stare at your friend, your guest, ignore that. Just keep walking. Just keep walking. Sooner or later, your dog is just going to give up. Seems like give up on your guest. In reality, your dog does explore the person. They trying to understand if they safe, who are they, what are they dangerous, are they not. But you take this greeting to the outside world, because then you can avoid triggering behaviors as a territorial behavior, when the dog is just gonna feel intruded when a stranger comes inside the house. And often when they get triggered, it's just harder for them to get out of that state, of that mindset. It's especially for fearful ones. But if it's in the neutral territory, they get over pretty quick. So sometimes you just need 2 minutes of walk, sometimes less than the minute, sometimes 5 minutes of walk. What you're looking for is your dog's just, acts like on the walk, sniffing around, looking around, do the regular things. Great. Turn around, go back home with your guest. From this point, when you come back home with your friend, with your guest, your dog is super high chances is going to act absolutely normal. Why? Because they already know this person. They already got to know this person. So they're just going to be hanging out, chilling. that majority of the dogs just need that first step to be fine with the people. So if you have lots of guests, with whoever comes in, you need to repeat this process with everyone, right? So up to you. You can do that with just the first and the last, or all of them. But if that's not an option for you, you always can do the middle part, which I'm mentioning at this slide right now. um, so if you come back home and your dog is still not fully okay with that human, with that new guest, you see they, a little nervous, stressed, they staring them, right? You see the dog is just not acting okay. um, just put your dog behind the baby cage, right? You were supposed to by this time already prepare the area. If you have not, put your dog behind the baby gate and give something them to chew. That chewing tool, the treat, is an important tool for your dog to prevent them from fixating, from building up. Don't worry if they kind of ignore it at first or something. Just leave them that option, right? Leave them with them. Since the dog is behind the gate, you don't have to worry. You don't have to stress out of like, oh my God, what my dog is doing. Keep an eye, call them up. You can just enjoy your guest, presence, and continue cooking or continue, setting up the table. Depends on the situation, okay? And your dog is just gonna be there. Option two, if it's really bad, right? Let's say even if you did the first step, you came back home and your dog, you put the dog behind the baby gate, or you tried it in the past, it's just not gonna work, not your option. Just put your dog in the room with the bully stick or yak or Kong. So this way you kind of cut the visual part. Even if they're a little upset in the beginning, very likely they're going to calm down over time, and the treat is going to distract them from getting upset and building up the anxiety. Remember, by this time your dog is pretty tired, supposed to be pretty tired, and now they got a little upset, but they have this distraction on the side, not lots of energy. This a combination should help them overcome whatever they feel. Okay? For those who's like, I don't want to take my dog and meet every person outside. Like my dog is not going to be okay with that, or I just don't want to deal with that. Like I just don't. You start with this step right away. So this is before your guests arrive, right? You put your dog behind the either baby gate or in the room with a treat. That's it. Even if you give it a try baby gate and the dog is just acting too loud, barking, ignoring the treat, you can put them in the room later. But that's what you need. Why this is important, right? Why we use this approach? Because even if you do not want to deal or do any kind of training, preventing practicing any undesirable behavior is same important as practicing desirable, right? So when you have time and space for do the training, you're trying to encourage your dog practice desirable behaviors. But when you don't have it, all is just matter, just create situation where they just can jump, can charge a person. Even they're gonna bark a few times, that's fine, but they cannot charge a person, they cannot jump at them, they cannot create this extreme intense situation for themselves and for your guest. So always remember, whatever undesirable behavior you're dealing with, first step is make everything possible to prevent them from practicing. Okay, let's move on to the second most common issue that happens when people have party is a food stealing. And this is the thing: if you have a young dog but tall dog that never stole the food, high chances it's going to. Or if your dog has stolen the food in the past, not necessarily during the party, just regular day, I almost give you 99% it's going to happen again, because party is very stimulating, lots of good food, people are very distracted, no one supervises the food, even no matter how bad you're going to decide, no, I'm going to supervise the food, I'm going to keep an eye on that. Believe me, a dog that stole the food before is going to be smarter. It's going to find a way to steal something. They're very observant. They're gonna find this little gap where no one is watching and just go after that. And so this is the behavior that I would not even try to prevent, try to call the dog off or something, because if this behavior, your dog practices behavior, it's very, very difficult to get rid of that, if even possible. Okay? Because you have to think how your dog sees the situation. It's a huge free reward on the table, on the counter. When your dog stole it, no matter what goes after, no matter how you are upset or with them or anything, they got rewarded, and they got double rewarded because they didn't need you to find the resource. They feel like I'm independent, like I can do it myself. That's why it's even extra rewarding. It feels extra rewarding. That's why the dogs are willing to, even if they know they're going to get in trouble, willing to still take a chance and try to steal the food. So if that's your case, I recommend, during even a preparation or anything, put your dog behind the gate and just them to steal anything. Okay, just don't give them even this chance to steal anything. If your dog is super familiar with the gate, right, just putting them there will be good. If if it's something new and you've never done it before, or they're going to be getting a little bit upset just because they overstimulated, you always remember about tools you have, which is a Kong, bully stick, yak cheese, pig ears, anything that not just a little piece of treat, something that they're going to spend time chewing. Any puzzle toy, would be good, anything. Okay, let's move on. Step 3, if you, during the party time, right, during the celebration, if you willing to do, again, some training, right, with the dog. If, let's say, your dog is not the most people friendly, or just when it's at home, people is staying nervous, fearful, suspicious. Most of dogs that acting kind of aggressive, usually it's because they are scared and nervous. So what do you want to do? What you can do? Let's say you had a party for an hour, 2 hours, right? And you're like, okay, let me do some training, few minutes, if you have few minutes. What you need to do is put your dog on the leash, have treats on you, and take your dog. So there are 2 options. If your dog was in the room, you can just start letting your dog out from the room and be in the gated area. Gated, where the baby gate, right? So behind the baby gate should, a bedroom, usually bedrooms. I do not know how your house designed, but most houses design same way. Huge living room with a kitchen, hall, and the hall takes you to different rooms. So if you have a baby gate that gates the hall behind the room, if your dog was in the room, let your dog out just to hang out in the hall, because now they can see people, right? If your dog usually is struggling to adjust, you can just toss some treats. You don't have to wait any specific behavior. Your dog is seeing people, and it's just stimulated. If they bark, if you're going to toss the treats behind them, it's going to distract them from barking. If you're going to keep tossing them, it's probably going to keep them distracted. If they don't bark, if you toss the treat right away at them, you're rewarding the behavior. So you just look at this this way. What are you looking for to reward? You're not looking for sit or anything, okay? We just want your dog pair people with something nice. If they are nervous about them, start thinking about them better way, like hopefully build some more positive association. If Yeah, even if they're like a too friendly, and gonna be just all over the place, it's just gonna help them. The food is gonna help them to calm down. But behaviors they're looking forward to treat are anything opposite your dog offers. You don't ask, your dog just offers. Again, opposite of barking, acting like aggressive. Whatever they do, they stay still, treat. They bark, bark, bark. They stop barking, treat. They stop barking, sit down, treat. They stay quiet, treat. You distract them with the treat, and they wonder if you're going to give them another one, treat. Okay, that's all going to be opportunities for you to treat. You can do a few minutes this training and put your dog back inside the room, or you can go further, put on your dog leash and let your dog just walk around the space. Okay, you don't have to specifically approach the people if you worry your dog is not going to react good. But just people by the time are going to be like spray around and sitting, just let your dog approach a little bit closer and just treat. You can just toss the treats on the ground, or if your dog is really actively sniffing the floor, let the sniff a little bit. The leash is going to prevent your dog running at the people, jumping, charging, or lots of dogs, like they super curious to approach and sniff. Once they're too close, they freeze just because like, oh my God, too close, I'm nervous, too stressful, you're too big, you're acting too much, and they start barking, barking, or growling, right? Prevent that situation too. Remember, we're preventing the dog from practicing undesirable behaviors. That's why you need the leash. You can let your dog just walk around a little bit, not necessarily approach people. Toss a few treats, just let them be exposed to situation like, oh, this is a room, this is my place, and there are people in this place, and put them back again behind the gate if that's an option. If that's not an option, put them in the room, few minutes at a time. And you keep if you want, you can keep repeating this exercise whatever you want, every hour, every few hours, just once, up to you. It depends on your feeling in the moment. Okay. Yeah, I already mentioned about that we just need to put the dog after practice into behind the baby gate or room. Oh, you see, this is the end pretty much. I wanted to keep this webinar super simple, easy, short. So just to give you, a plan in your mind, what to do, what should be done, what are the steps, right? Okay, yeah, Portia asked me if you should the guests give the treats to the dog. If the dog feels very intense, how can I say, if your dog overall is extremely difficult getting used to people, even some dogs, when they spend like 2-3 days with the person, they still like acting suspicious. Or even if they cannot acclimate to a person within a few hours, which should be more than enough, I would recommend not asking a guest to give a treat unless they toss the treat toward the dog. You don't want to create this super close when you don't want to create a situation when a dog has to reach a stranger's hand to pick up the treat. This is very still confrontational situation for fearful dogs, for very anxious dogs, because especially they're very food motivated because they want the treat really bad. At the same time, it's so freaking scary or intense to come and take the treat from the hand. So if you want to do that, that's a great option. Ask the person, your guest, toss the treat to him. then it will be good. Then it feels good, like he sees the person is a resort of something nice. But at the same time, I don't have to be that close, like to feel intense. The rest of the cases, not necessary, to be honest. Like, if the dog actually is the one that like super intense case, meaning any movement from the person and the dog barks, I would not ask to toss the treats. I would prefer all the treats go from my hand. Thus, I'm gonna pull dog's attention from the guest to me, right? And when the dog is more likely to come down. So hopefully I answered the question. Any other questions from everything we discussed? In the meantime, you are you maybe if you type quickly, right? Plan. Step 1, exercise your dog well on the Thanksgiving day. The dog that the more dog the more dog is exhausted, the better. The dog that is tired is going to be less barking, less fighting, better dealing with the problem solving, better dealing with their soothing and calming themselves. Okay. Step 2, meeting guests. If you want, you can meet all of the guests, or if you want, you can meet some of the guests outside of the house. You need to do for this a little walk. You come back home when your dog acts neutral with your guest. All guests should be ideally acting just not interested, like this we talk about the dogs that like acting more fearful and like more likely to buy a nip, right? For dogs that are just super excited, let's say super friendly but very excited, there's, oh my god, a lot of people, right? But because of the excitement, they might nip a little bit, they might hump or just annoy people. Those dogs you don't have to. I mean, if you're gonna let the dog read outside, would be good, to be honest, because by the time you come back home, they're gonna be calm. But if that's not an option, just leave your dog behind the gate so you don't have to deal with the greedy manner, like teaching them, just not jumping at the person. You just don't have to waste, because for that specific scenario, it has to be a completely different set of exercises, and that would be just, I feel like, too many steps, too much work. I'd rather keep my dog behind the baby gate and just prevent jumping at the people and all of that, just for those 10-15 minutes. Because once your dog behind the gate, they're very excited when they first see the person, right? But 10-15 minutes later, they already adjusted, they already acclimated to the situation. You can let them out and just hang out with your guests or friends. If they act up again too much, ignoring your corrections, like, hey, stop, put them back behind the baby gate for 10 more minutes just to calm down, or for the rest of the night, up to you. Depends what you're willing to deal with. That's for exciting dogs. Okay, so if we are traveling and staying with family, should we start off with the walk outside as an introduction? Yes. So if you go to someone's house, your family house, and you assume your dog is going to be a little intimidated, especially if they have dogs. You want your dog meet everybody outside the house. Like with the why? Because outside feels a little bit more open and not as closed environment. If it's a people, if it's a dogs, the other side, right? Your family dogs is not going to be triggered by territorial behavior, right? So they're going to be more likely acting a little bit more friendly, or hopefully a little just more neutral if you're going to introduce them outside. Ideally, not the whole group. If especially if it's a big family, like let's say 2 dogs and 4 adult people or something. 1-2 people at a time, 1 dog at a time, same. Ideally outside, briefly, and once go inside the house. I would recommend, if there is no dogs, right? If everything is like is fine, if there is no dogs in the house, take off the leash, let your dog just act naturally, because very likely your dog just gonna go towards sniffing every little corner. If there are dogs in the house, maybe keep those on the leash just for a little bit, just to see how they acting. Remember, they already met your dog outside, right? So they shouldn't be acting, they should not be as intense as we could expect that. But keep them so your dog can freely look and walk around and sniff, because the faster your dog gonna sniff everything around, the faster they're gonna realize that it's just safe space, you know. Plus, yeah, from here it's so many things can happen, and it depends if your family dogs actually kind of more intense, then you might just want to have a two baby gates and have them separate, or maybe one baby gate and just switch them, you know. Let's say new dog is the first in the hole, family dog hang out around, and then just like switch them 15 minutes later, and then again switch them, and again, and if you see they're doing pretty good, open the gate and let them hang out all together, you know. That just usually you need just to make sure that those during the first moments, or if it's outside, everything goes fine, or when when inside the house is first like a 20 minutes where something could happen, you know, just avoid those 20 minutes, prevent anything from happening, anything negative, like a fight, you know, like, or resource guarding or anything. I hope I answered that question. I'm gonna go back to Portia's question. So if someone's staying over in your house for Thanksgiving, well, first I would give a chance that your dog should be by the end of the evening, especially if you're gonna do a little of training, should be good with that person that's staying overnight, should be good. But if not, if you still, let's say, if he, you know, if your dog is behind the baby gate, and by the, you know, in the end of the day, in the end of the night, your guest approach the gate, it's pretty neutral, and you still see your dog kind of being not really nice. Yeah, you know, you need to kind of still separate them and manage your dog for the night and for the next day. Like first thing in the morning, right? Again, I would do the same approach. Take your dog on the walk together, probably walk, because meaning your guest should go on the walk with you, because the more time your dog spends in the presence of your guest, doing neutral doing neutral things with your guest, and walk is a very neutral, because your dog is more likely just to sniff everything, then the more he gets used to your guest, your friend. Yeah, I see. Oh, sweet name, Marina. Yeah, this is, I guess, toward the. I see. I assume Boltito is not going to be okay if, with a stranger by the end of the night. Yeah, then just keep him separately. You know, as long as he is, you know, did not have a chance to actually, like, you know, nip, or she's trying to touch him and he nips and she takes away the hand. As long as you just prevent those situations from happening, you already doing good steps. He hates people in the house. Damn, I almost like I want to challenge that, you know, meaning, yeah, let's say hypothetical, let's say, okay, I believe you, right, that he's not the dog that okay with the strangers like a first day, like the whole first day is just not enough. But there will be second, third day. He should get used to that. And as I mentioned, yeah, on the second day, go together on the walk, come back. If you still see he's acting up, like you, like whenever you feel I cannot trust him, put him behind the baby gate, give you something to chew, let it go. You mindfully enjoy the company of your friend. But just don't feel that, like, oh, he has to like her, he has to be able he should be able to be next to us, lay down peacefully, or, you know, near the couch, then everything worked out. No, not necessary. If that doesn't work, behind the baby gate, like, I wouldn't be like, feeling even bad about that. But again, if you able to prevent bad situation from happening, should be good. Even if he like barks here and there just because she moved or anything, I'm like, if you're gonna keep barking, you're gonna go in the room. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, and summing up everything for those that don't want to deal with anything, like just want to have peaceful holiday, like I mentioned, step one, very, very, very good active walk in the morning. And then you should already have ready 4 or 5 different long chewing treats, or just 5 4 Kongs that you're going to be giving your dog throughout the night. And put your dog in the room and just give a Kong, like maybe 2 hours later, give another one, 1 more hour more, take your dog on the walk. If they need this potty break, bring back home, put in the room, give another one, treat, give another one this long-term the chewing treat. It's just important to do it every time when you put your dog in the room, because it's the moment when you put them in the room and you leave and close the door behind. This is the moment when they get like this upset, where they can start barking. And that's why, to prevent that, we leave a treat there. Okay, beautiful. If I don't see any of the questions, then I'll finish here. If you're gonna have any other questions, I hope you know where you can find me. You can find me on my website, Greta's Dog Training, on Instagram, Greta's Dog Training. You can email me, Greta's Dog Training, at gmail.com. Other than that, thank you really much for joining me tonight and supporting me. This is my first webinar with the presentation. I hope it was useful. I hope you got a little bit, ideas and tips. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I plan to do more of this interesting, hopefully useful webinars. Just keep it grounded, realistic, because 25 steps before is, unless you going to be getting prepared for Thanksgiving 90 days before, then we can do 25 steps. Okay? Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see some of you tomorrow.